नमस्ते।
जी।
आपकी हाँ जी, की आवाज़ आ रही है अभी। मैं बाहर बैठा हूँ। मैं इनफैक्ट अपना कैमरा ब्लर वर्स सब हटाना पड़ेगा। मैं यूएस में बैठा हूँ और बाहर स्टारबक्स पे बैठकर एक कॉल ले रहा हूँ। आपको पीछे से नॉइज तो नहीं आ रहा?
नहीं नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं, ये तो बैकग्राउंड हमने डाला हुआ है। श्योर।
हाँ, बैकग्राउंड में हटा देता हूँ ताकि ब्लर हट जाएगा तो जैसा है वैसा दिखेगा। तो ये थोड़ा सा बताएंगे इस कार्यक्रम के बारे में?
जी जी, आई एम जस्ट स्टार्टिंग ऑफ। तो इंटीग्रल ह्यूमैनिज्म, जैसा कि हम सभी जान रहे हैं कि वो 6 दशक पूर्व पंडित जी ने 22 से 24 अप्रैल के 4 जो उनके लेक्चर्स थे मुंबई में। तो एक 6 decades वी आर कमेमोरेटिंग द इंटीग्रल ह्यूमैनिज्म, द डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ इंटीग्रल ह्यूमैनिज्म, जो कि 4 लेक्चर्स के रूप में पंडित जी ने दिया था। तो चतुर पुरुषार्थों की जो बात पंडित जी ने की, तो उसी के तत्वाधान में हम लोग विभिन्न इस सत्र में जो युवा हमारे स्कॉलर्स हैं जो कि भारतीय दर्शन को व्याख्यायित कर रहे हैं अलग अलग रूप में, तो उनका एक साझा मंच की इंटीग्रल ह्यूमैनिज्म की जो पूरी फिलॉसफी है उसको कैसे रिवैम्प किया जाए, फर्दर उसको रीलिव किया जाए, बिकॉज देर इज़ अ लॉट ऑफ तत्व जो कि आज सोशो पॉलिटिकल डिस्कोर्स में हमें चाहिए। सो दैट इज़ व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू कमेमोरेट। तो पैरेलली इन टॉक्स के पैरेलल वी आर आल्सो डूइंग द वोकल रेंडिशंस ऑफ दीज 4 लेक्चर्स। बहुत ही फंडामेंटल बातें दीनदयाल जी ने उसमें कहीं। तो आज के सत्र में लेट्स वेलकम राहुल दीवान जी, वन ऑफ अ वेरी आई वुड से illustrious savants who has rekindled the entire tradition of भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा through a singular effort under the aegis of संगम टॉक्स। हम लोग देख रहे थे कि छोटे ही समय में 3,000 के लगभग वीडियोस भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा के राहुल जी ने संकलित किए हैं। एंड द ब्यूटी इज दैट दीज 3,000 वीडियोज हैव बीन व्यूड, अराउंड 30 करोड़ व्यूज आर ओवर देयर। तो भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा का एक, जैसे हम अमरकोश देखते हैं, तो उसी प्रकार से भारत कोश अगर हम कहें संगम टॉक्स को, तो दैट इज अवेलेबल एंड इट हैज़ बिकम द वर्ल्ड्स लार्जेस्ट यूट्यूब चैनल दैट डॉक्यूमेंट्स द इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम्स, the untold stories of India's history as well as सेटिंग पॉलिटिकल एंड सोशल नैरेटिव्स। और आज का जो वक्तव्य जो कि हमने राहुल जी से निवेदन किया, जैसा कि दीनदयाल जी ने कहा कि चतुर पुरुषार्थ जो है वो अंतर्गुम्फित है। ना अकेले धर्म रह सकता, ना अर्थ रह सकता, ना काम। देर इज एन इंटरट्वाइंड रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन ऑल द 4 पुरुषार्थास। तो आज जो डे 3 जिसको फोकस हम लोगों ने अर्थ के लिए किया है, और इंटीग्रल अर्थ कि अर्थ को कैसे देखा जाए, बिकॉज वी ऑल से दैट दिस इज द एज और अर्थ युग है। और राहुल जी की जो एक विशिष्टता है, जो उनका एक कोट हम लोग आप बैकड्रॉप पे देख सकते हैं, and बहुत ही समीचीन, आई थिंक अ वेरी relevant time it has come through when just a day before we had such a dastardly attack on Bharat. We can say so that becoming expansionist once again is the only answer to all Hindu problems, फ्रॉम टैकलिंग इस्लामिक जिहाद टू क्रिश्चियन कन्वर्जन। ये एक इनका बहुत ही एक स्ट्रॉन्ग एडवोकेसी है। राहुल जी हैज़ बीन अ टेक एंटरप्रेन्योर, एन एंजल इन्वेस्टर, ब्लॉगर, सोशल एक्टिविस्ट, एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंटली ही इज़ अ योगा एंड मेडिटेशन प्रैक्टिशनर। तो ही प्रैक्टिसेस दैट भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा इन हिज ओन पर्सनल लाइफ्स। हम लोग इनके वक्तव्यों से बहुत रूप से लाभान्वित होते हैं। And today we have invited him to talk more about, he has dared and roared to talk about creating a not less than 1,000 crore Hindu fund. आज जबकि एक छोटे छोटे यूनिकॉर्न स्टार्टअप्स दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट 1 बिलियन वैल्यूएशंस एंड सो फोर्थ, तो सनातन भारत की जो ज्ञान परंपरा है और उसको संकलित, संग्रहित और संवर्धन करने की दृष्टि से आपने 1,000 करोड़ के एक हिंदू फंड की संकल्पना रखी है, जो अपने आप में एक बड़ी ही विशिष्ट बात है। एंड द एंटायर पर्पस इज टू रेज द अवेयरनेस ऑफ द हिंदू सोसाइटी दैट हिंदूज हैव ऑलवेज बीन अ मिशनरी रिलीजन। एक बड़ी ही डिस्टिंक्टिव बात राहुल जी करते हैं। एंड कन्वर्टिंग एंड एस्टैब्लिशिंग हिंदू एम्पायर्स in the Middle East, such as Mitanis, and in Southeast Asia, some of the oldest and largest Hindu temples are in Southeast Asia। तो एक बड़ा ही डिस्टिंक्टिव व्यू है, एक बहुत ही डेयरिंग और रोरिंग, जो आज का एक एंटरप्रेन्योरियल वर्ड कहता है कि वी हैव टू बिकम नॉट जस्ट अ यूनिकॉर्न बट अ डेका यूनिकॉर्न। तो उसी तत्व में कैसे जो भारतीय सभ्यता है, द हिंदू सिविलाइजेशन, उसका संवर्धन, उसका संरक्षण और संवर्धन कैसे किया जाए। आई थिंक ही इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट कॉम्पिटेंट अथॉरिटीज ही हैज रिजन टू बी टू टॉक अबाउट, बिकॉज जिस प्रकार से संगम टॉक्स ने बहुविध भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा को संग्रहित और संकलित किया है, so he knows the strengths and weaknesses, the opportunities and threats which are underlying in this entire cause of Indic resurgence, as we can say so। तो ये जो इंटीग्रल इंडिक इंटेलिजेंस फोरम के तत्वाधान में मैं निवेदन करूंगा राहुल जी से कि वो अपना जो वक्तव्य है, और जो ये फोरम है, इसका जो कोर ऑब्जेक्टिव है, एनविजनिंग अ न्यू वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर in the ambit of the integral intertwined Indic paradigm, encapsulating the quad of dharma, artha, kam, and moksha, going beyond the WEF agenda of an upcoming AI dominated world. So, this is the central theme around which we have invited a host of young scholars and activists who have really given their lives to champion this cause over there। तो मैं without any further ado, I would request Rahul ji to illumine us, enlighten us, and as a part of this whole endeavor, we are also reaching out to the entire spectrum of educational campuses to have integral humanism as a core precept in their entire learning paradigms। So this talk of Rahul ji would be really a foundational talk guiding this endeavor also। So over to Rahul ji to enlighten us further। और ही हैज़, क्योंकि 60 वर्ष का हम समारोह मना रहे हैं, तो सीनियर सिटीजन, दिस आइडियोलॉजी हैज़ रियली कम टू दैट फ्रूशन। एक वयस्क, एक सीनियर सिटीजन के लेवल पे इट हैज़ कम थ्रू। सो इन दैट लाइट राहुल जी, ओवर टू यू।
जी, thank you, Namaskar. A clarification before we begin. Is this being relayed live or being recorded? I'm a little unclear
So
about the
we are
format.
recording also. We are recording as a part of live also. So it will be recorded on the YouTube platform, and then we will be relaying it further. Yeah.
Okay, so this is not being relayed live at this point.
It is on YouTube as well. It is
Okay, you're
also.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. So I'll share my screen
Okay.
and I'll get started on my big, hairy, audacious goal of setting up a 1,000 crore Hindu fund, the need for it, and so on and so forth. But before I begin, I have Anubhav here who's also joined in my name.
Okay.
But I'd like him or you, Raghavji, to play a small video to begin with.
So I have given the permissions.
Uh,
Anupam ji can do it. Yeah. He can share his screen. Yeah.
Anubhav, if you can share the screen first and play that video, please, the link I
Yes,
gave you.
just give me a second.
Right. And so while Anubhav is pulling this up, I am in the US right now, so sitting at a Starbucks outside and doing this call before. So can't hear. क्या आप सुन पा रहे हैं वीडियो में?
The audio is not coming
नॉट
out.
देयर।
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
ओके।
अनुभव, आप या तो
ऑडियो नहीं आ रही सर।
होस्ट को दे दीजिए प्लीज लिंक, बिकॉज विल स्टार्ट फ्रॉम देयर।
सर आपको व्हाट्सएप किया, एक बार आप चेक करेंगे क्या?
अच्छा, मैं देखता हूँ। Sure. Just a moment. Just a moment. Mhm.
और अगर नहीं हो पा रहा है तो
No, no, it's
आई
just
मीन आई कैन ऑल्सो ट्राई, एक्सेप्ट दैट थोड़ा बैकग्राउंड नॉइज आएगा।
no worries. मैं इसको प्ले करता हूँ.
Make our education system independent of, we have to
यू मे वांट टू शेयर
make
द
our
स्क्रीन।
education system independent of this secularism, Islamization of knowledge. So we want to Islamize.
या कैन यू
We
रीस्टार्ट
have
दिस? थैंक
to
यू।
make our education system independent of this secularism, Islamization of knowledge. So we want to Islamize all sciences, whether it's biology or physics or medical science, and then you go to community and then society and to country. And that's how the entire nation is reformed. First move that I will do, I will abolish the constitution and I will establish the only logical and rational constitution, which is the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That will be my first move. We have to make our education system independent
थैंक यू वेरी
of
मच।
secularism, Islamization of knowledge.
Just a moment. Yeah.
So we want to Islamize all sciences, whether it's biology or physics or medical science, and then you go to community and then society and to country. And that's how the entire nation is reformed. First move that I will do, I will abolish the constitution and I will establish
have to stop
the only
Yes.
logical and rational constitution, which is the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah
It's
sallallahu
playing
alaihi
from a
wasallam. That
different
will be my
place.
first. We have to make our education system independent of this secularism, Islamization of knowledge. So we want to Islamize all sciences, whether it's biology or physics or medical science, and then you go to community and then society and to country.
Where it is.
And that's how the entire nation is reformed. First move that I will do, I will abolish the constitution and I will establish the only logical and rational constitution, which is the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That will be my first move. We have
Sorry,
to
it has got into a loop somewhere.
make our education system independent.
Probably be on your browser, because if you opened it in a browser, if you open the
So we want
browser,
to Islamize all sciences,
sorry.
whether
maybe you
it's,
want to close off all the
biology
browsers.
Yeah, I'm
or
doing
physics
that.
or medical science, and then you go.
Yeah, please go on. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. Sorry, I will also have to stop and breathe.
Yeah.
So as we've heard, this is his earlier name was Yasir Nadeem. I think he's from Deoband or somewhere in UP. He went to Chicago, migrated, and now he is called Al Wajidi also. He's trying to, of course, be a sheikh and change his DNA to be an Arabic DNA. I have argued with this man many years back, pre-COVID, on trying to drive some rationality in his head, but of course he wouldn't listen. He's a Islamic scholar, and I love these kind of people. Okay, he is absolutely clear that he will abolish the constitution. So जिस धुन में हम लोग रहते हैं ना, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को माथे पर सर पर उठाकर, we actually need to clearly understand that this is the mentality of the adversary. And when we do not understand the adversary, we are bound to mess ourselves up and bound to uh, destroy our civilization. The only counter to this is to actually think of redoing the constitution uh, and make it a theological Hindu Rashtra. That is the only way you will be able to move forward. And unfortunately, at this point in time, we have no clarity on what the Hindu Samaj is supposed to do and where we are headed towards a nation. Islam has absolute clarity. We know this is a PFI document, extremely well laid out. The NIA charge sheeted them and arrested them for a plan to Islamize India. I mean, they may want to Islamize India. They are clear. And unfortunately, we have no clarity. We continue to only say that we want to be a Viksit Bharat by 2047. What else do we want to be? There does not seem to be a clarity. So all that we are trying for uh, is going to be in vain without this clarity of Shatru Bodh, as my dear friend Pankaj Saxena calls this out. I will not play this video, but you may want to pick this up. This is by Nupur J. Sharma of Op India. The video is recently from Bengal, but is of not much consequence given what has happened 2 days back in Pahalgam, where people were stripped to see if they were circumcised and determined if they were Hindus or no, and only Hindus were shot. So this is a Khilafat 2.0 in the making. In my view, we are heading towards a civil war and perhaps another imminent partition of the country. Whenever I raise this with Hindu leadership, if people get very angry. When I ask a follow-up question, how will you prevent it? I do not get any satisfactory answers, except a blame, so to say, if you may allow me, to say that the Hindu Samaj is divided, and unless it is united, that is the work we have to do, and we will not get far unless we are united. Honestly, I do not understand our division or what will happen with unification, and what does unification of the Hindu Samaj look like? Does that mean that I come from pre-partition Pakistan, both my grandparents, my mother's side, father's side. And so I come from a certain place which has all the Munjals, including the Hero Honda Munjals and all of them. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to write Hindu against my name or Arya against my name? Or what am I supposed to do? Just pull myself and tear my jati away in an aspirational united Hindu society? I'm not clear about what the ask is here. Of course, we have our endless battles of our amendment of 26 to 30, where the temples are not in our control, the wealth is not, temple gold is being melted and abused by the Tamil Nadu state, and we just are bystanders and watchers of all this mess going on. I'm in the US, and there is a Hindus for Human Rights organization that runs this dismantling global Hindutva, and we have to fight them as well. And of course, there is the halal ecosystem, there is secular Hindus who will, they're all over LinkedIn and Twitter these days, in the last 2 or 3 days, saying that, oh, why do attacks happen before elections? Now they're saying the Bihar elections of 26 are the reason this attack has happened, which means they're trying to basically say that blame the Modi government for perpetrating this attack. Just absolute shameless, just pathetic shamelessness, including people from the Indian National Congress, by the way. We have the Hindu population rate has fallen to about 1.9, the TFR. The TFR has fallen to 1.9, replacement is 2.1, which means that we are in a declining population. And no amount of calls for producing more kids is going to help. We have to understand that. Okay, this is silly, and it is absolutely peeled away from truth. Nobody is in cities is going to start producing more kids just because some Hindu leaders are asking for it or gurus are asking for it. It is not going to happen. This is a global phenomenon, that there is a massive 30% decline in population growth in fertility rates across the world in urban centers. And let's inspect our solutions as we go along. And we'll inspect our solutions in this framework of palliative, curative, and preventive. Palliative is basically manage the symptoms of illness. Cure is to cause a cure, and prevention is that the disease does not happen. In my worldview, palliative is only offered by allopathy and is a short-term solution, while curative and preventive are in Ayurveda and are, are the only answer to curing a condition or perhaps not letting other conditions happen or disease to grow. Anti-conversion laws, and they're state after state we are doing this. Laws against love jihad. These are all palliative solutions. They perhaps even harm the Hindu society more. For instance, in Uttarakhand, now live-in couples, however much your morals of our leadership, the Hindu leadership might be like, if I have a live-in relationship, I will have to go to the Uttarakhand government or the nearby Panditji or a district magistrate and declare that I'm going to be living in with a woman. I mean, honestly, this is an absurd, absolutely absurd idea. And no Muslim who's out on a love jihad campaign is going to be prevented by this. But you've only created hurdles for Hindus to conduct their lives in a normal manner without the state coming in my bedroom. Bulldozer justice. I'm not saying this is not needed. I'm not saying laws against anti-conversion or whatever are not needed. But all of these are short-term palliative solutions. These are not long-term answers. The only long-term answer right now is this freeing temples from government, so that the money, Hindu money, can come in Hindu hands. Yes, there are problems while we attempt to get there. But those things have to move forward. These decisions are not moving forward. UCC. I'm in two minds whether this solves Hindu problems or is, it is somewhat of a curative idea because it disciplines the adversary. It basically says, we live by certain rules, you better live by certain rules also. Does it solve any Hindu problems? No, it does not. Okay, this solves our geographic nationalism problems, Article 370. Absolutely must needed, very bold, fantastic. Jatiless Hindu society, Batenge the Kotenge, for example, is just sloganeering, honestly, and may polarize, but it is all short term. It is not solving anything. Asking for weapons training. I mean, we are a de-weaponized society. We have outsourced the use of force to the state, and unfortunately, if you see just this Pahalgam attack or the stone pelting, it is not the Hindus who are going out and creating a mess for the state. The other side, the adversary, goes out and does whatever, and then the state reacts. It's an endless cycle of street warfare, if you like, on the Hindus and on the state, and the state is only reacting, trying to put it all down. BJP should remain in power. Yogi should become a PM. AC service, painting service Hindus, campaign against halal, display of owners, slogans, current Ghar Wapsi program by all Hindu organizations. And I'm sorry, I will have to say all Hindu organizations, including Sangh organizations, are completely useless at this point in time. All of these are palliative and defensive answers. And we are not doing any front foot batting at all. And so what am I after? The solutions in my mind are only twofold. And I have a talk on Sangam Talks on Hindu Rajya, where I've in detail talked about missionary Hinduism. But to be brief on this call, it is about an objective of converting 10 crore Muslims to Hinduism by 2035. In 10 years, 10 crore Muslims. It may seem like an absurd goal, but unless we have absurd goals like setting a $30 trillion economy or a Viksit Bharat by 2047, we are not going to get anywhere. Why must our end goals, this must only be economic goals? Why must we not have civilizational goals? Finally, India in its the modern India is a current version of an ancient civilization. We need to understand that we are not a nation born in 1947, right? It's just a new version, modern version of an ancient civilization. We must For achieving this goal, one weapon we have in our hand is to fund ex-Muslim YouTubers, not only in India, but globally. But with a very huge focus on India in all Bharatiya Bhashaएं. We must do that. And of course, the second goal that I'm after is to raise a large grants fund across the spectrum of palliative, curative, and preventive solutions for supporting Hindu causes. Large grants fund. I don't want to, I will skip going here, but I will basically just sort of share with you that I've been at, there are about these 6 areas of my work. 5 of them are projects which are internal at Saryu Trust, and I've been doing third-party funding since 2016. Okay, I'm going to skip over and directly get to, okay, what type of funding has this been? Let's look at those solutions for just a little bit, right? These are people like Neeraj Atriji, who've been calling out Islam and its theology very politely in a very civil manner, but calling it out on his channel. Okay, there is Parvati Ma. She is one of the world's India's and the world's best and biggest influencer in terms of Baul making Baul become a recognized globally. Okay, so. This is Mohit Bharadwaj. He's building a Vedic Gurukul in Sonipat. We have, in the 1,000 years, 800, 900 years of colonization, all traditional Orthodox Gurukuls have been wiped out from North India. Of course, they exist in very, very prime condition in Karnataka and southwards, perhaps. But barring in the north, barring perhaps Prayagraj or Kashi, I'm not sure there are any traditional Vedic Gurukuls. There may be many Arya Samaj Gurukuls, but I don't know if we have any Vedic Gurukuls traditional. So he's reviving a Shakyayan Shakha of the Rig Veda. This is Arsha Vidya Samajam. I've been supporting them since 2017. This is Kerala stories before the film was made. Okay, all of these girls that you see here were converted. Shruti, for example, for 6 years was a Muslim. Vaishali was converted while she was at TCS. Okay, by targeted, I wouldn't call in both their cases, perhaps love jihad, but targeted, I don't know what form of jihad. Basically, creating doubt about Hindu Dharma and our devatas in their minds and turning them over to Islam. Okay, and Acharya Manoj has helped bring back over 5,000 girls and boys in Kerala. He's been doing that with barely no support. Only thankfully 2 years back at Bangkok, for the first time, he was recognized by Hindu organizations at the World Hindu Economic Forum. Finally, after struggling for money and other things, and even, so perhaps even some attack on him, moral attacks. This is Professor C.S. Yogananda, doing some absolutely incredible work for 22 years with our texts. He's built, for example, the Advaita Sharada for Sringeri Peetham and done an absolute terrific job with digitization, searchability, hyperlinked editions of commentaries on Adi Shankaracharya's work, and so on and so forth. This is work that ideally the National Manuscript Mission type organization should have done 30 years back. And what I find in my work as I meet such brilliant people is that individuals have been able to do far more with 1/100th of the money or 1,000th of the money by their own selves than the entire government has been able to do. Person on the left is Devdutt Maji, doing some incredible work, Hindu resistance in Bengal. And here on the right is ex-Muslim Sahil. Yes. So I encourage people, if your audience have not seen, say, ex-Muslim Sahil's work, and he's not the only one, there are about 6, 7 of them, 8 of them perhaps, and maybe some more now who are running very good YouTube channels. So this is the type of work we've been supporting. We've supported over 90 organizations since 2016, and I've spent a whole lot of money doing that. And I have now recurring money that I have to spend on these third-party donations, if you like. And this is other than the work that I spend on my own projects, right? So running Sangam talks or other projects. So what I've done in the last, I decided about 2.5 years back, 3 years back, that I need to build an institution and not keep doing this under Sarayu. So inspired by Swami Vijnananda of World Hindu Economic Forum, who has pushed me multiple times in conversations, including a Sangam talk, that we need to stop being defensive about calling ourselves Dharmic or Indic and all of that. So I wanted to call this a Hindu Network Foundation, and with his encouragement, I did, do this. What this does is, when I reach out to people, they are clear that they can call me a bigot, they can call me an extremist, whatever, but I'm reaching out to them with a clear agenda for asking for money for a Hindu cause. I'm not asking money for a dharmic cause and whatever else. For me, of course, the Hindu cause includes all Indian-born religions, tribal religions, Indian cultures, and all Indian traditions. Indian-born, and I create a distinction between what is Indian-born and what has come from outside of India. We may have the same DNA with the people, but the ideology they follow is alien to India. And they have alien value systems, both Islam and Christianity, and we need to call that out clearly. So what I've done is I found a Section 8 company, and I'm now trying to build an institution with this to create a large fund. 1,000 crores is what I'm after. And I want to have the operating principle of being able to make liberal grants, trust our warriors by default, and evaluate their work over time. Will 5%, 7%, 3% of them misuse the money? Absolutely, they will. Should we have a tolerance for allowing that to happen? Yes, absolutely. Okay. If that goes to 20%, okay, then you change your operating principle. In my work of 9-10 years, this has never happened, barring 1 to 2% people who misuse money out of 90 organizations, which is probably now more than 100. Or maybe 2 organizations and individuals have misused the money I've given. Okay. So that, in my experience, is not more than 1 or 2% of people who misuse money. The problem is that when people come asking for money, they are asked 1,000 questions on proprietary. It's humiliating. I refuse to humiliate my Hindu brothers and sisters who are doing exceptional work, like, say, Neeraj Attri or Devdutt Maji or C.S. Yogananda, professor. Okay, so I don't do all that. And that is my operating principle of the organization I'm building here. We've funded projects across all sorts of things, and in 13 states of India, and in a couple of countries outside. People ask me that, why such a diverse set of activities? You don't have focus. I tell them that Hindu Fund does not do anything by itself. It only funds other people who do their own things, who have a focus and do their own things. Somebody is running an ex-Muslim channel. One person is doing Ghar Wapsi with a legal Aadhaar card name change, by the way, I just know of one organization which does that. No Hindu organization of stature do the Aadhaar card change, that is why I'm saying that is actually utterly useless work unless you change names on the Aadhaar card and go the full Gazette information, the announcements in newspapers and so on and so forth. Anyhow, coming back, so we fund organizations who do their work, who have a focus. Hindu Fund does not do anything by itself, except doing some legal work by itself, right? That we need to have. People have asked me, how do I know where my money goes? So I built a website, and we announce all the money which has been allocated to individuals. Only in some cases, we are not able to give their names, and we won't. And we'll put them under a category called individual supported. But for pretty much everyone else, the organization names are mentioned and so on and so forth. Okay. I copied this, by the way, from George Soros's website. Okay. Open Societies. So I'm learning from the adversary and using exactly what they do. If you open this website, you will find that these are live listings. Okay, with which people, who is the organization we've donated to, how much, right? So this is all listed and goes back to as far as we started donating from either personally me or via my organization Saryu Trust. So I've just allocated all of this, allocated in the sense that I'm basically saying that the third party donations of Saryu Trust were being in a pseudo manner done under a Hindu fund, although the Hindu fund was formed only in June of last year, June 2024. So since June 24, all this is going from the Hindu Network Foundation. But before that, all such third party, I'm attributing all such donations to the Hindu fund. Hopefully I'm clear about it. All the grantees are listed here. So it's a absolutely transparent, an attempt to form a fully transparent organization. Okay. All the trustees since then, since when have we been funding them? How much money from its start have we given to each one of these individuals or organizations? All of this is listed. Okay. So I come from the corporate world, and so I'm basically corporatizing Hindu giving, if you like. Okay. So like I said, and we have patrons, WhatsApp groups, emails. We have a CRM, all of that, and we're just basically, like I said, corporatizing everything and all, just running this like a customer relationship management system that we run in any corporate company. I'm also forming a governing council, which will decide how money is going to be distributing. I have these 4 areas of priority, and I'm in the US, so these numbers are, I'm raising money on these rounds. I must remind my your listeners and that keep raging on Twitter and talking about how dharmic we are and all of this is not going to help unless all Hindus, according to their strength, start putting out 1%, 2%, 3%, 5%, 7%, something, a percentage of their monthly income and donate to Hindu organizations. I am not only asking money for the Hindu fund, but this is non-political Hindu organizations, non-religious Hindu organizations. उनके बाहर आकर donation देनी पड़ेगी. Like the list of 90 organizations and individuals we have, for example, and there are many more that are not listed here who we have not given money to, unable to, or they do not want the money, but we have to be able to give them money. Okay, and this has to be with a percentage of your income, monthly income. Once you set a percentage, we are greedy beings. Okay, so once we set a percentage, if you set a rule for ourselves, then we get over our greed because we set a rule. You allow the rule to apply, even if the money grows and becomes too big, which otherwise we may feel, oh shit, I'm giving so much money. But when you set a rule, a percentage, then you're done. Okay, you basically create a hindrance for your greed to come in and stop. We must remember, धर्म का मूल अर्थ है. अर्थ के बिना धर्म सस्टेन नहीं कर सकता. एंड हम ज्ञान बांटते रहते हैं सोशल मीडिया पर बैठकर, हर रोज ज्ञान बांटते हैं, मगर अपनी जेब ढीली करनी नहीं आती हमको. Anyways, I'm setting up a governance team with some really top people so that there are these names who are putting their name behind the organization, and it's not only Rahul Dewan. Okay, there are retired army officers, Swamis from Ramakrishna Mission, top scholars of Sanskrit in the country, top lawyers, top family offices, authors, so on and so forth. I'm increasing this team. I'm probably looking for about 3 more people, and so that I can professionalize and corporatize this organization. I will pause here, stop sharing, and take any questions that you may have at this point in time.
I think Rahul ji has transcended the entire doctrine of integral humanism to integral Hindutva in action, and it's so very like beyond all euphemisms. He has really hit the bullseye. I think Dr. Surbhi, would you like to just come in and because what we have been discussing about the political doctrine of integral humanism, it has been more philosophical and more softer. And I can say that I think in these last 2 days, after the Pahalgam attack, I think his is one of the most roaring and daring voices from the Hindu side. What Asim Munir talks to the entire Pakistani expats and talks about his own version of it. I think Rahul ji has really given that retort to it, that this is the Hindu civilizational ethos and this is the way we can fight it across over there. So, Dr. Surbi,
First of all, am I audible
yeah, yeah.
clearly? So first of all, I would like to really heartily congratulate Rahul ji for the daring and the courage to raise a Hindu fund. And something which is so I would use the word vehemently. You have claimed that Hindus जेब ढीली करनी पड़ती हैं. So this is something we all talk about, I'm speaking a bit in English, trying to invoke the common household of a Hindu family, quote unquote. When a Brahmin or a Panditji comes to do an anushthan, and there goes Brahman ko, bhaiya 100 rupees mein nipta do. So, from there starts the very root of it all. When we say Dharma Rajya and we talk of the Varnas, how are we, kind of, हमें कुछ दान देना है तो घर में जो सबसे पुराना फल है वो जाता है मंदिर में, मंदिर के अनुदान के लिए. So this is where the psyche, I think it's very important. I would pose my questions, but before that साधुवाद करना चाहूंगी राहुल जी का तहे दिल से कि आपने जो ये पक्ष रखा है. एंड इन व्यू ऑफ द पहलगांव अटैक्स, इट्स रियली startly truly and heartbreaking, but and the point of civil war probability which you have so I should say, in medical, I'm a doctor, I hail from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and we say accurate diagnosis. And when we reach or clinch at a diagnosis, we don't come directly, we come through the protocolized process of differential diagnosis, a provisional diagnosis, and a final diagnosis, which we can say a definitive diagnosis. So, this condition of a civil war is something which I think the Hindu Dharma Rajya has been always so tolerant, Sahishnuta, सौहार्द हमारे एक रिलीजन या धर्म. Religion is a term which is so very often, it's a very sensitive and a delicate issue. But I must congratulate Rahul ji for saying that yes, we are nearing the state of a civil war. And somewhere the Hindu Dharma Rajya, I would take this liberty and daring to say that the Hindu sect, so-called, or the Hindu Dharma Rajya, has to take the strength and the daringness to say, "Galat ko galat kehna." I mean, till when will we kneel down with our knees and say, "Oh, we are a secular government. Oh, we are a tolerant country. We are a nation which harbors and gives refuge to so many other religions." And I can sense from your voice and the entire presentation the tease, the pida of a Hindutva, of a Hindu, of a pure pious Hindu person who is struggling on the foreign shores, seeing the gross apartheid with Hindus themselves. And this is happening on the global forefront everywhere. So it starts from the common householder, and how it is going to the corporate parlance and then to the international forefront. So my a very humble question to Rahul ji would be that I'm really inspired by your work, or inspired, and would like to ask you a very, very simple question,
जी.
that how you got inspired to name Sangam Talks. What is the inherent, the underlying doctrine of philosophy or the spirit of it all? So just साधुवाद के
तो
रूप
मैं
में.
जी, नो प्रॉब्लम. मेरी कंपनी का नाम सृजन टेक्नोलॉजीज था, जो मैंने 2002 में शुरू करी थी.
Ji.
And my foundation was earlier called Srijan Foundation. And when I started these talks, they were earlier called Srijan Talks only, just extended. I liked the name Srijan. I thought it was a Sanskrit name. Later, Nityanand Mishra corrected me that it was a Pali name. However, I named it after my company, and it was not after a company, but the word Srijan, I really liked it. However,
Mhm.
uh, as Sangam Talks, as Srijan Talks grew, I was at a point where I had to rename it simply because of the threat to my business. Cancel culture was very high. So I was constantly torn apart that um, these leftist jihadists would perhaps, I don't know what extent they can go to in talking about freedom of speech, but not expressing it and allowing that to happen in life.
I get it.
And so I eventually had to, I was determined that I would have to exit my business, which I did. So I successfully sold my business, exited. And it's only in the last 2 years or so that I've started coming on face. And only in the last time after my full exit last November, December, October to December period that I've started coming out fully, right? Otherwise, I had to hide behind also, uh, just basically operate from the behind the scenes. So because I had to rename, so I was thinking of another name. So my foundation, I named it from Srijan Foundation to Saryu because of my deep attachment to Sri Rama,
Ji, ji, ji.
Ayodhya. And I was looking for a name. I didn't want to name it Saryu Talks or whatever. I wanted to have a distinct name.
Mhm.
And that time, Modi ji was pushing a lot for Tamil Sangamam.
Mhm.
And, that is when, and so two reasons. One is Prayagraj and the other is the Tamil Sangamam. Then I thought, and the Sangam literature, and I thought this was one name which sort of not only united, the country from a overall Sangam idea, but also Tamil Sangam, which is
True.
bitten by Dravidian politics, sadly. So that's how I named it Sangam Talks.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that was my question in short, and I think you have enunciated the spirit of it all in such beautiful and elaborate words. Thank you so much.
I think we are really very fortunate to have Rahul ji on this, I would say, forum of integral Indic intelligence, whereby on the firm footings of integral humanism, whereby Deen Dayal ji gives the raison d'etre for, I would say, the Dharma Rajya in his lecture 3 of integral humanism. And Rahul ji has presented a way forward to really reclaim, I would say, that hard power of Bharat through this Hindu fund, and this is what the power of integral Artha is all about. Not just being a soft power, not just being malleable or accommodating or things like that. He has really caught the bull by the horns, and the next leap forward is perhaps it's fine that we have been so very tolerant and liberal, but until or unless we survive the kernel, the key kernel of Hindutva, if it doesn't survive, which is the soul, the chiti of Sanatan Bharat, I think how will I would say the ennobling message will go. Thank you so much, Rahulji, for expanding the envelope of integral humanism to the next level. The germs of it are very much there in what Deen Dayalji envisaged for. There might be some political compulsions, but then the youthful vigor with whatever constraints he ran through his, I would say, enterprise, as well as then he nurtured the civilizational enterprise and the kind of professional and corporate roaring and daring, the kind of great management he has really given a way forward. We are really so very grateful to him. And I hope that all the Rethink India partners, the academic institutions and all sorts of people जो उन्होंने कहा कि हमारे यहाँ जो दान की एक परंपरा है हिंदू causes के लिए, and the entire approach should really inspire perhaps this 1,000 crore fund is I think needs to be created, needs to be contributed over there. So with this, we really thank him for being on this forum. And we at Rethink India further commit ourselves that we will also take this leap forward in the myriad causes what Rahul ji has envisaged for. Thank you so much, Rahul ji, for taking out time and illumining
Thank you
us.
very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Namaskar.
you.